Chairperson's Selection Committee.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order number 175 and further to the resolutions of the House on 27th October 2022, this House approves the appointment of members to the respective committees of this House, of the House, as specified in the schedule to the supplementary order paper for 5th March 2025 in this afternoon sitting. Honorable Speaker, by the making of the standing order, Honorable Speaker, there are specific committees whose terms came to lapse at the beginning of this session. And even in this formation of the supplementary budget, the BPS and everything that has been going on, Honorable Speaker.
Have you moved the motion?
Yes, I have.
You haven't? You say, I beg to move the following motion and read it as it is. Have you done so?
I have moved, Honorable Speaker.
Sorry, I was being talked to by some members. You did. Go ahead.
I moved it.
Sorry, two members were conversing with the Speaker.
Well guided, Honorable Speaker. So, Honorable Speaker, as I was saying, through the making of the standing order, there are some specific committees whose term came to an end at the lapse of the last session. And it really brought a lot of, the committees have not been sitting, of course, for this period. And I must say that the leadership of this House, both the minority and the majority, have burnt midnight oil, Honorable Speaker, to even come up with this list. It may not be pleasing to all sometimes because our officers, Honorable Speaker, have been very busy. We've been approached by honorable members from all quarters, of course, lobbying for specific committees, maybe perhaps out of their expertise or interests or whatever reasons, Honorable Speaker. But I want to say this, that this House is very wealthy of very experienced and rich CVs, Honorable Speaker. This House enjoys people from different fields. We have experienced lawyers here, we have teachers, we have different professions, we have doctors. I mean, it is important that we share such experiences, Honorable Speaker, through these committees, even as we, try to realign our experiences and share ideas, Honorable Speaker. So the formation of these committees, Honorable Speaker, hasn't been very easy. Hasn't been very easy, Honorable Speaker, because there are so many factors to look at when you're coming up with even a single name. When you pull one, you affect the other. There is a question of regional balance. There is a question of gender. There is a question of experience. There is a question of party politics. There is a question of coalitions. So it hasn't been very easy, Honorable Speaker. And the House leadership has met, if I count, Honorable Speaker, the House leadership has met more than 16 times in coming up with this list that we've seen here. That had we extended by a day, even this list that you see today here would not come here the same as it was yesterday. Because any name that you touch from this angle, it must affect a particular angle. And we did not really look at, when we were coming up, Honorable Speaker, with this list, we didn't look at this, what people could imagine perhaps that, political pronunciations outside there, political persuasions. It was basically on political affiliations, if you are Kenya Kwanza, like the standing order provides, or Azimio coalition. It was also on the question of gender. It was also on the question of regional balance, because you really can't have two or three. For example, the committee, Honorable Speaker, that really had a lot of interest, the committee of the budget and appropriation. I mean, over 90 members showed interest, Honorable Speaker, to be members of the budget and appropriation committee, which wasn't very, very easy, Honorable Speaker. It wasn't very, very, very easy. I mean, 90, yet the provision of the standing order only provides for 27, Honorable Speaker. So the only way one can balance such, Honorable Speaker, is through coming up with a formula. And that formula, as I've said, Honorable Speaker, is the regional issue, the question of gender, the question of political affiliation, and negotiations and counter negotiations, Honorable Speaker. So this hasn't been very easy, and that is why we really urge this House to support this list as it is. But even as we move forward, Honorable Speaker, there has also been a lot of politics as far as the formation is concerned. That perhaps, you know, because by the lapse of these committees and the formations, or somebody wants to be moved as chair from this particular side to the other. So, Honorable Speaker, it hasn't been very easy. And I want to say that it is this House, it is the members that have been selected upon being passed by this House, Honorable Speaker, that, that will sit down within 7 days and elect their own chairs, Honorable Speaker. Let it never come out there for political reasons that, you know, perhaps the leadership is going to have so-and-so appointed as chair, so-and-so ejected as chair. I mean, those powers are not a preserve of the House leadership, Honorable Speaker. It is the prerogative of the members that sit in those committees to elect the chair that they want, Honorable Speaker, so that people don't use such for politics. If you lose elections in the particular committee that you've been placed, please do not blame particular leaders or bring the issues of politics and political persuasions, which are neither here nor there, Honorable Speaker. So, Honorable Speaker, these committees, upon being passed by this House, the membership, as indicated in the schedule, Honorable Speaker, have 7 days to sit and elect their chair and vice chair. And then they come up with a schedule of their programs. And of course, there are so many urgent matters that needs to be handled. Several matters, Honorable Speaker, all along in the past 2 weeks have been handled by the Liaison Committee. And I'm sure the Liaison Committee has really heard through the chair, your deputy, Honorable Speaker, they've really been very, very busy moving around the corridors to do the work that the particular committees or specific committees ought to have done. And that is why we urge the committees, Honorable Speaker, once they form, they elect their chairs and vice chairs, move with speed. Urgent matters should be handled, should be expedited with speed. The issues of the NGCDF, Honorable Speaker, the issue of budget policy statements, the issues of the supplementary budget, all those other issues, Honorable Speaker, should be handled by these committees once they've been formed. So, Honorable Speaker, I therefore beg to move in the amended form the Committee on Regional Integration, Honorable Speaker, to also include the Honorable Irene Mayaka, who should or who will replace the Honorable Orero Peter Ochieng. And that is in the amended form, Honorable Speaker. The Committee on the Regional Integration. It is in particular, let me check the page, Honorable Speaker. Let me just check, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, you know, as I've said, this hasn't been easy. When we were moving this earlier, 165. Yeah, it is actually page 165, Honorable Speaker. Yes. Because when you try to move here, you affect the other one. So I move in the amended form. I had earlier moved as it appeared in the standing order, Honorable Speaker, but I want to move in the amended form that in the Committee on Integration, we include the Honorable Irene Mayaka to replace the Honorable Orero Peter Ochieng in that committee. I move, Honorable Speaker, and I request the most gracious minority whip, the Honorable Millie Odhiambo, to second.
There can't be anything out of order. The motion has not been seconded. Irene? Sorry, not Irene, Millie?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I ask to second this motion. And Mr.
form.
Speaker, I wish to indicate...
You are seconding as is or in amended form?
In amended form, sorry, Mr. Speaker. I wish to second the motion in amended form, Mr. Speaker. And in seconding, Mr. Speaker, I wish to indicate, just as the majority whip has indicated, that there are committees that whose terms have expired midterm, Mr. Speaker, and therefore are being reconstituted. But, Mr. Speaker, there are also members that have shown different interests in different other committees, and there are also some vacancies that were rising either because a member has passed on or because a member lost the seat. And so, Mr. Speaker, we have done that as well. Mr. Speaker, one of the things I would wish to indicate is that when we are doing this process, I requested our side for members to show interest in different positions. Mr. Speaker, more than 40 members indicated interest in changing committees. And Mr. Speaker, with that in mind, and again, I think the majority whip indicated that most members were interested mainly or primarily in 4 committees, including one committee in which I serve, and I've actually had to let go of the committee. And Mr. Speaker, despite that, you will still find that members are still, some members may not feel like their interests have been met. We just wish to indicate it would have been my wish and my choice that everybody got what they wanted, but unfortunately the positions that are there are not enough. I would also wish to indicate, Mr. Speaker, that members can also borrow from me. Last Parliament, I was only in one committee, but I'm here again still serving my 4th term. So sometimes it's not committees that make a difference. It's the work you do in this House, and it's the work you do for your constituents. Mr. Speaker, one of the things that we took into consideration, of course, is the issue of gender, is the issue of regional balance, is the issue of ranking, amongst other factors, Mr. Speaker. But of course, Mr. Speaker, in the process, some of the members may not have got what they wanted. And Mr. Speaker, one of the things that I want to reiterate is the fact that after this process, and we go through elections, Mr. Speaker, there will be a second round of reorganization. So I want to encourage members that have not got the committees that they are interested in to hold on and wait for the second level of reorganization. Otherwise, Mr. Speaker, I do second and thank Honorable Osoro. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Order, members on their feet. Take your seats. Take your seats. Umulkheri, there were so many empty seats where you're coming from. Honorable members, I now propose the question at order number 9, which is that pursuant to the provisions of the Standing Order 175 and further the resolution of the House on 27th October 2022, this House approves the appointment of members to the respective committees of the House as specified in the schedule to the supplementary order paper for 5th March 2025 afternoon sitting, subject to the amendment appearing at page 165 on the Committee on Regional Integration, where at number 16, Irene Mayaka, Honorable, replaces Honorable Orero Peter Ocheng, MP. Order, Honorable Ngogoyo. You know the procedure. You remain on your seat until you are given an opportunity. That's when you stand up. You can't be so presumptuous that whenever you want to speak, you will speak. What's your point of order?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise on Standing Order 216. Mr. Speaker, Standing Order 216-2 provides that a member appointed to a departmental committee at the commencement of a parliament at any other time during the term of parliament shall, unless the House resolves otherwise, serve for the term of the parliament, subject to Standing Order 217. Mr. Speaker, Standing Order 176. Standing Order 176, Mr. Speaker, provides the criteria, Mr. Speaker, of the discharge of a member from a committee. Mr. Speaker, I have been a member of the Departmental Committee on Energy, Forestry and Mining. Standing Order 176 provides that a party may discharge a member from a select committee after the member has been accorded an opportunity. Number 2, it provides that the party whip of the party that nominates a member to a select committee shall give notice in writing to the speaker with the intention of discharging that member from that select committee. And number 3, most important, the speaker shall, within 3 days of receipt of the notice under paragraph 2, inform the member. Mr. Speaker, I am a member of the Departmental Committee on Energy or on Environment. And Mr. Speaker, if I have been removed, the standing orders provide that 176 shall apply on standing order 216. It is even written there. Mr. Speaker, you cannot remove a member from a committee. I am not in the list on the Committee on Environment, Forestry and Mining, which I was nominated to at the beginning of this parliament. Mr. Speaker, even if Osoro, even if Ichungwa does not want me in this committee, you must remove me procedurally. Give me a hearing, notify the speaker to give me a notice. Mr. Speaker, it will not be in order to continue with whatever is happening here, because it is okay to remove me. It is within the procedure and rules. These standing orders, Mr. Speaker, you are one of the creators of these standing orders. I have used them for the last 12 years. I was a whip of a county assembly, so I know how to use standing orders. You cannot remove me without, I need letters written to me. Accord me a hearing. After according me a hearing, now give notice to the speaker. The speaker will tell me within 3 days, you cannot remove me in the morning. I have been a member of this committee and I cannot remove in the manner in which you want to remove me. However powerful you might be, Mr. Speaker, it is not correct. Whatever has been tabled before this House, Mr. Speaker, is kangaroo, it is null and void, it cannot operate because they are standing orders and the procedure and rules of this House, the traditions. When Mheshimiwa Kimani Ichung'wa, when several honorable members were de-whipped from committees, the Honorable Wangwe, who is the immediate former whip, wrote letters to specific members. And apart from that, the communications were done directly to the Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I cannot be removed from and the Speaker cannot oversee my removal from a committee, a departmental committee, without me being discharged by my political party. And Mr. Speaker, because you are the Solomon of this House, kindly do not proceed with this motion in the state that it is, and it will be a procedural wrong. This is the making of Kimani Ichung'wa, which cannot work in this assembly. Thank you very much.
Yes, Majority Leader.
Honorable Speaker, the member for Kajiado North is my very good friend, and he served as a member of the County Assembly of Kajiado. And he has clearly read out to us the standing order. I will choose to ignore the invocation of the name Kimani Ichung'wa, which is now a spot for those who have nothing else to speak about. They can only speak about Kimani Ichung'wa, and I know why he's trying to invoke my name. But I will restrict myself to the provisions of the standing orders. The standing orders, Honorable Speaker, make it clear unless otherwise resolved by the House. Therefore, I would implore on the member for Kajiado North, other than carelessly invoking the name of Kimani Ichung'wa, who is not the majority whip, because the majority whip is called Honorable Silvanus Osoro. Other than doing that, he should be spending his time now convincing the House to resolve otherwise. Otherwise, Honorable Speaker, invoking the name of Kimani Ichung'wa to look popular out there, my friend, go and do those things in the County Assembly of Kajiado, not in the National Assembly. Spend your time in the National Assembly discussing matters of greater importance to the people of Kajiado North, who are suffering without roads, whose children cannot even go to school because their member of parliament is busy following people in some other village somewhere. Why don't you follow members of your constituency in their own constituency addressing their issues? I will not allow, Honorable Speaker, any member to use my name or invoke my name to try and seek cheap publicity. Our standing orders are very clear, and our Ngogoyo should know that. Deal with matters to do with their constituents. And there is also some levels of insatiable greed that we cannot be able to satisfy as a House. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, the issue
Sufficient.
raised is simple. Let the Honorable Ngogoyo convince members of this House to resolve otherwise. Otherwise, the standing order, as he read, is very well, is in very simple language
You've
that
made your
even a
point.
member of our county assembly can be able to interpret.
Osoro? Osoro?
Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. Honorable Speaker, when I moved this particular motion, I did indicate that coming up with a list of committees in any particular committee, Honorable Speaker, is not very easy. The movement of one to the other affects another. And it is by...
Address the issue he has raised. It's very simple.
That is where I'm heading to, Honorable Speaker. I'm making my case.
Yes.
I'm making my case that the movement of one member to another committee must affect the other because there are issues of regional balance, there are issues of gender, there are issues of party, Honorable Speaker. I am actually not aware, and I'm now checking, that the particular committee that he intended to be included, or rather he has been serving, Honorable Speaker, his name is missing. Then it must be placed somewhere for that list,
Honorable
Honorable
Osoro,
Speaker.
take your seat.
But even with that...
Take your seat. Take your seat. I expected you as a good lawyer to be listening. The Honorable Ngogoyo is raising an objection under Standing Order 176 on the allegation of discharge of a member from the committee. He is clearly out of order. What is before the House is a reconstitution of committees, is not discharge of members from any committee. If you looked at your standing orders very well, we are dealing with reconstitution of committees, and it's up to the House to resolve that the list brought by the whips is voted for in the affirmative, whereafter committees will be reconstituted, or voted on in the negative, whereafter I'll send them back to the drawing board to reconstitute the committees. When a member is singularly or with another discharged from a committee, that will then come in a separate form, and I'll address it when it does come. So you're out of order. Order, Ngogoyo. Yes, Kiamba, is that Kiamba?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I have a point to express in relation to the committees. Last time, some of us never got departmental committees. We went to the chairs concerned, we explained, and even up to now, we have not got any departmental committee. I find this very marginalizing and not even having an altar of accountability. When you take some members as second-class members of Parliament, even when we've made official requests and you are maintained, you don't have a substantial departmental committee for 2 consecutive times. I mean, is that with the fairness, what people sat down and really, and even some people are more than 2 departmental committees. I think, Honorable Speaker, I'm not here by accident. I'm here by design, and I'm here representing people who need to hear my voice in areas which matters. So I think that needs to be considered. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Yes, Ondo.
Chair, I have keenly
Address
listened.
the Speaker.
Yes, Speaker,
Yes.
I've keenly listened to the sentiment raised by members. I've also keenly listened to presentation by the majority whip. And the Honorable Chair was in the issue
Honorable
of...
Speaker.
Sorry, Speaker. Honorable Speaker,
Yes.
I just hope and pray that the statement made by the majority whip on the issue of appointment of chairs and vice chairs is a true statement not meant for the public gallery. Honorable Speaker, members of Parliament are here by design, having been elected by their people. When they go to those committees, we do hope and pray, Honorable Speaker, that in your wisdom and in your good guidance to this House, do not allow, do not attempt, or do not permit, where issues are raised, allow the members to exercise democratic right, elect their leadership without interference from other quarters. I don't want to believe and trust it has gone unanswered. We would have no other interference from any other quarter.
Oundo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Oundo, the Speaker has no role in the election of chairs of committees. The dynamics I've been in this space for quite some time. And when you go to committees, you have your vote. You're also subject to your whipping. You are subject to the dynamics of your coalitions, the dynamics in your parties. And I want to encourage you to leave the Speaker out of this, because this is about the various coalitions and parties in the House. Even the point raised by the distinguished member for Kiamba, you are for Kilome or Mboni? Makueni. In the House Business Committee sits your team leader from Wiper Party, who is also the deputy leader of the minority party in the Azimio coalition. And he is satisfied with the composition of the committees. So take the argument that you have proposed back to them and let them listen to you. As it is now, this list was approved by House Business Committee, in which sits all your leadership, majority leader and his whip, minority leader and his whip, and your team leader within the enclave of Wiper. They have passed this in the House Business Committee. Now that the matter has come to the floor, you have only two options: to resolve to approve the list, or to resolve to reject the list. If you do, then your leaders will go back to the drawing board and readjust and refresh and reflect on why the motion has been negatived. But as it is now, the Speaker cannot sit on appeal here. Just like the good point raised by Honorable Ngogoyo, he's raised a good point in a wrong forum. That issue, Honorable Ngogoyo, is if you have been discharged wrongly from a committee, and what is before the House is not a discharge, it's a reconstitution of committees, then I'll listen to you and look at the provisions of Standing Order 176 and give you the due process that you deserve. But as it is now, it is neither here nor there. Yes, Makali Mulu.
Yeah, thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, just as you have said, some of us have also been in this space for some time, and I want to say really I'm not complaining. For me, a committee is a committee, and once you are there, you serve. But I think there are some facts, we must put them on record, so that as we go to the future, they will inform this House. Honorable Speaker, when the whip was moving this motion, the only thing he didn't mention was that there was a consideration because we have a broad-based government now. That was also considered, Honorable Speaker. Why am I saying it was considered? For the last 2 years and us as Wiper, we did agree that our members should remain in their respective committees without any movement. And I'm sure my party leader, my leader in the House, Honorable Mbui, that must have been the position. But as you can see, Honorable Speaker, I've been moved to another committee, and I have no complaints. I will serve there faithfully, I can tell you, Honorable Speaker. But I want leaders here to learn. The majority leader of this House in the 12th Parliament was my chairman in the Budget and Appropriation Committee. And because of these political considerations, he was moved to other committees. And I thought this year, he would take this opportunity
and make sure that members are not punished for relating the different individuals, Honorable Speaker. So, even though we don't want to say it, the truth of the matter, Honorable Speaker, is if we want this House to move to the next level in terms of democracy, we must allow members of this House to be in committees as they request. It is very unfortunate you find our members to departmental committees, Honorable Speaker. Some of us are in two select committees. And I thought if they were to remove me from public debt, they should have given me a departmental committee so that I also have a chance to serve in a departmental committee. But you realize, Honorable Speaker, I'm moving from a select committee to another select committee, Honorable Speaker. So as I said, I'm not complaining, Honorable Speaker, and I will serve there faithfully, but all said and done, Honorable Speaker. Makali Mulu was a PhD in economics, and I thought I would serve better in public debt than I would serve in regional integration, Honorable Speaker. I don't want to go beyond that, Honorable Speaker. I will be voting for the motion, yes, but I want that to go on record on that matter.
Thank you, Honorable Makali Mulu. You have put it on record. Again, it's a good point being prosecuted in the wrong forum. Because that point should be prosecuted in the court of Robert Muhia and Millie Odhiambo and Junet Mohammed, not before the Speaker. Order, honorable members on their feet, take your seats. Bowen, take your seat. Today you are very, very mobile. What is the problem? Take your seat. The members standing at the back. Honorable members, since all I've been hearing are lamentations and not contributions to the motion, allow me to put the question at order number 9, which is that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 175, and further to the resolution of the House on 27 October 2022, this House approves the appointment of members to the respective committees of the House as specified in the schedule to the supplementary order paper for 5th March 2025 afternoon sitting, subject to the amendment at page 165, where the Honorable Orero Peter Ocheng MP, appearing at number 16, is replaced by the Honorable Irene Mayaka. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? Nay. The ayes have it. Honorable members, having passed that, you are obligated in the committees that have been reconstituted to elect leadership, chair and vice chairs, within 7 days. So this must be done on for Wednesday next week. Tomorrow by 8 in the morning, the clerk had to release a schedule of meetings of the various committees so that you can be able to observe that schedule and meet as directed in the rooms directed with the clerk and his team superintending over the election of the leadership of the committees. So be on the lookout for the communication to that. The select committees. Secondly, Honorable Millie Odhiambo was sufficiently clear in her contribution that where there are gaps, order members, that where there are gaps or there are issues to be addressed like the one of Ngogoyo, Makali Mulu and so on, it is work in progress. You can go back to your caucuses, to your leadership. You will be listened to. If they find merit in what you raise, then they will be able to discharge one member for another, as in the case of Ngogoyo, or do whatever replacements which they can bring to the notice of the Speaker, and as and when they come, we'll give them due process. So take this as work in progress because these are dynamic processes From time to time, we lose members to death, to court processes, and so on. And others have to come and replace them in those positions. So it's directed so. By tomorrow morning, the clerk's schedule will be out, and start organizing yourselves to elect your leadership. Finally, the chair of every committee or vice chair is elected in accordance with the dynamics that you all know. So go on and elect and give us leadership that will help this house. And those who will be elected chairs of committees and vice chairs, I beseech you, be the first to create quorum in the house at all times. To whom more is given, much more is expected. Those who are given that privilege to lead committees, be the first to arrive in the house, be the last to leave the house. Like I did tell you, you are truly here in my many years. The speaker always found me in the chamber, and I followed the speaker out of the chamber. Every single working day. And Honorable Kainan is my witness to this. Please try and give this house quorum to work. Thank you. Next order.
Order number 10, motion, consideration of the 2025 medium-term debt management strategy.
This motion will be moved by the chair of the liaison committee, who is the deputy speaker. And we want to thank you for improvising our operations in the absence of the committee.
Yes, thank you.
For chairing the liaison committee and giving the House progress on our work. Go ahead.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that